Welcome to English Plus Podcast. I'm Danny, your guide on this enlightening journey through the fascinating world of education. Today, we're diving into the evolution of education systems globally. We'll explore how education has transformed over centuries, influenced by culture, technology, and societal needs. Let's start with the early days of education. Picture ancient civilizations like Greece and China. Education was a privilege, often reserved for the elite. In ancient Greece, education was about molding young minds with philosophy, arts, and physical education, while in ancient China, it was more about instilling values and preparing for civil service exams. Fast forward to the Middle Ages, education began to spread. But it was largely influenced by religious institutions. Monasteries and mosques became centers of learning. The focus? Religious studies, but also languages, mathematics, and the sciences, paving the way for a more structured education system. Then came the Renaissance, a period of awakening. Education became more secular, with an emphasis on humanism and the arts. This era brought about a shift in thinking, where education was seen as a tool for individual growth and societal improvement. Now let's leap to the 19th century. The Industrial Revolution changed everything. It wasn't just about machines and factories. It revolutionized education too. Mass education became the mantra. The goal? To educate the masses, prepare a skilled workforce, and promote national unity. Countries began establishing public education systems, making schooling accessible to more people. The 20th century brought its own set of changes. 2 world wars, the civil rights movement, and technological advancements led to significant educational reforms. Education became more inclusive, diverse, and geared towards critical thinking and problem solving. Today, in the 21st century, we're experiencing another major shift. The digital era has transformed how we learn. Online education, e-learning platforms, and digital classrooms have made education more accessible than ever. But it's not just about technology. It's about preparing for a rapidly changing world. So, what does all this history mean for us today? It shows that education is dynamic, ever-evolving to meet the needs of society. It's not just about reading, writing, and arithmetic anymore. It's about developing skills for life, fostering creativity, and preparing for an unpredictable future. Now let's talk about the role of educators in this evolution. Teachers are no longer just sources of knowledge. They're facilitators, mentors, and guides. They're adapting to new teaching methods, embracing technology, and focusing on holistic development. And what about students? You're not just passive recipients of knowledge. You're active participants, creators, and innovators. The classroom is now a space for exploration, collaboration, and real-world problem solving. As we wrap up, remember that education is a journey, not a destination. It's about lifelong learning, adapting, and growing. So, take what you've learned today and apply it. Embrace new learning opportunities, challenge yourself, and stay curious. And now on to our next segment, Word Power. We'll dive into some key terms we discussed today, like holistic development and e-learning. So don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. Welcome back to English Plus Podcast. I'm Danny, and in this segment, we'll dive into some key terms and phrases from our discussion on the evolution of global education systems. Understanding these terms will not only deepen your comprehension of the topic, but also enhance your English vocabulary. Let's start with education systems. This term refers to the structured methods and practices used by countries or regions to educate their populations. It's like the framework or blueprint that guides how education is delivered, be it in a traditional classroom or through digital platforms. And speaking of digital platforms, e-learning is our next term. E-learning or electronic learning signifies the use of electronic technologies, especially the internet, to access educational curriculum outside of a traditional classroom. In our digital age, e-learning has become a game changer, making education more accessible and flexible. Another transformative concept in education is holistic development. This phrase highlights the importance of nurturing all aspects of a person's growth, including emotional, social, and intellectual capacities, rather than just focusing on academic achievements. It's about developing well-rounded individuals. And now let's explore inclusive education. This term embodies the idea that all students, regardless of their background or abilities, should have equal opportunities to learn and succeed. It's about creating a learning environment that embraces diversity and promotes equity. And next we come to the Industrial Revolution. The Industrial Revolution was a pivotal period that radically transformed societies and education. During this era, mass production and technological innovations led to the establishment of public education systems, aiming to educate a broader population and meet the demands of a changing workforce. Digital era, another term we discussed, refers to the current period characterized by the widespread use of digital technology. In education, it means integrating technology into learning and teaching, revolutionizing how knowledge is accessed and shared. And next we have critical thinking. Critical thinking, a skill highly valued in modern education, involves analyzing and evaluating an issue or idea in an objective and thoughtful manner. It's about thinking clearly and rationally, understanding the logical connection between ideas. Problem solving goes hand in hand with critical thinking. It's the ability to find solutions to difficult or complex issues. In education, fostering problem-solving skills prepares students to navigate challenges in their academic, personal, and professional lives. And we also talked about the Renaissance. The Renaissance, a historical period we touched upon, was marked by a resurgence of interest in the arts, science, and philosophy. It influenced education by shifting the focus to humanism and secular subjects, paving the way for modern educational thought. And lastly, we have lifelong learning. Lifelong learning is a continuous, voluntary, and self-motivated pursuit of knowledge for personal or professional reasons. It emphasizes that learning extends beyond formal schooling and is a critical component of personal development and fulfillment. Understanding these terms not only gives us insight into the evolution of education systems, but also enriches our vocabulary. And now let's gear up for our next segment, Action Time, where we'll discuss how to apply these concepts in real life and turn learning into action. Stay tuned, and remember, every word you learn is a step forward in your language journey. Welcome to the Action Time segment of English Plus Podcast. I'm Danny, and today we're going to explore practical ways to apply the concepts we've discussed about the evolution of education systems. Integrating these ideas into our daily lives can be both enriching and transformative. Let's start with e-learning. In today's digital era, you can harness the power of e-learning by enrolling in online courses that interest you. Whether it's a language class, a coding tutorial, or a creative writing workshop, the digital world is your oyster. Set aside some time each week to engage in these online learning platforms, and you'll see a significant growth in your skills and knowledge. Inclusive education is not just a concept for the classroom. It's a mindset we can all adopt. In your community or workplace, advocate for inclusive practices. This could mean supporting accessible facilities, promoting diversity in hiring, or even ensuring that materials are available in multiple languages. By championing inclusivity, you contribute to a more equitable society. The idea of holistic development can be applied in your personal life by pursuing activities that nurture your emotional, social, and physical well-being. Join a local sports team, volunteer for a community project, or take up a new hobby like painting or music. These activities enrich your life beyond academic or professional achievements. Critical thinking and problem solving are crucial skills in the modern world. Apply these by analyzing new articles or solving puzzles and brain teasers. When faced with a decision or challenge, take a step back to evaluate the situation logically and creatively. This approach will enhance your decision-making skills in various aspects of life. And now, the Industrial Revolution and digital era. They remind us of the importance of adapting to change. Stay updated with technological advancements and be open to learning new tools and software that emerge in your field. Embracing change rather than resisting it prepares you for the future and keeps you competitive in an ever-evolving world. And lastly, lifelong learning is perhaps the most universal application. Commit to learning something new regularly, whether it's a foreign language, a cooking technique, or a historical fact. And I must say that you're in the right place because English Plus Podcast is all about lifelong learning. But anyway, let's get back to lifelong learning. Remember, you can attend workshops, read books, listen to podcasts like our own. And of course, there are many other good podcasts out there you can listen to. You can engage in discussions. You can do all that to keep your lifelong learning journey going. Remember, every day is an opportunity to learn something new. By integrating these concepts into our daily lives, we not only enrich our own experiences, but also contribute positively to those around us. Now get ready for our next segment, Frequently Asked Questions, where we'll address common queries about the evolution of education systems. This segment will help clarify any doubts and provide deeper insights into our topic. Stay tuned, and remember, the journey of learning never ends. Welcome back to the Frequently Asked Questions segment of English Plus Podcast. I'm your host, Danny, and today we're delving into some intriguing questions that might have arisen after our exploration of the evolution of global education systems. A common question is, how has the role of teachers changed with the advent of digital learning? Well, in the digital era, teachers have transitioned from being the sole source of knowledge to facilitators of learning. They now guide students in navigating digital resources, encourage collaborative learning, and support individualized learning paths. It's a shift from a one-size-fits-all approach to a more personalized and interactive educational experience. Another interesting query is, what impact has globalization had on education systems? Globalization has significantly influenced education by promoting cross-cultural exchange and international educational standards. Students now have access to a diverse range of perspectives and learning materials, which fosters a more global outlook in education. It's about preparing students not just for local or national scenarios, but for a connected global community. And people often ask, how can we measure the effectiveness of new education methods like e-learning? The effectiveness of e-learning and other modern educational methods can be evaluated through various metrics like student engagement, comprehension levels, and practical application of knowledge. Surveys, quizzes, and real-world projects are great tools for assessing these aspects. The key is to focus on outcomes and adaptability of the learning process. And some wonder, are traditional education methods still relevant? Well, absolutely. Traditional methods like face-to-face teaching and textbook learning still hold significant value. They provide a structured learning environment and a tangible sense of progress. The goal is to blend traditional and modern methods for a comprehensive learning experience. A frequently asked question is, how can education systems cater to different learning styles? Catering to diverse learning styles involves incorporating a mix of teaching methods: visual, auditory, reading, writing, and kinesthetic. This can be achieved through multimedia content, interactive sessions, practical exercises, and group discussions. It's about creating a multifaceted learning environment that resonates with different types of learners. And many are curious, what role do parents play in the evolving education landscape? Parents are crucial in supporting and complementing the formal education system. They can encourage learning at home, provide emotional support, and collaborate with educators to ensure their children's needs are met. In the digital era, this also includes guiding children in the responsible use of technology for learning. Another common question is, how is technology shaping special education? Well, technology has been a game changer in special education, providing personalized and accessible learning tools for students with diverse needs. From speech to text software to interactive educational games, technology is making education more inclusive and effective for all learners. A pertinent question is, how can education systems prepare students for future job markets? To prepare students for future job markets, education systems must focus on developing skills like creativity, critical thinking, digital literacy, and adaptability. This involves not just academic teaching, but also providing real-world experiences, internships, and exposure to emerging technologies and industries. And people often inquire, how do sustainability and environmental education fit into modern education systems? Well, integrating sustainability and environmental education is essential in today's world. This includes teaching about climate change, renewable energy, and sustainable practices. It's about equipping students with the knowledge and skills to contribute to a sustainable future. And lastly, a common question is, what challenges do education systems face in less developed regions? Well, education systems in less developed regions often face challenges like limited resources, inadequate infrastructure, and socioeconomic barriers. Addressing these issues requires collaborative efforts from governments, NGOs, and the global community to provide accessible, quality education for all. These questions shed light on various facets of the evolution of education systems, adding depth to our understanding. Stay tuned for our next segment, Mythbuster, where we'll tackle some common misconceptions and myths about education systems and debunk them. Join us as we separate fact from fiction and deepen our knowledge on this vital topic. Welcome to the Mythbuster segment of English Plus Podcast. I'm Danny, and today we're going to dispel some common myths about the evolution of education systems. Understanding these misconceptions is crucial for a clear perspective on how education is evolving. First, there's a myth that e-learning is inferior to traditional classroom learning. Well, this isn't true. E-learning offers flexibility, personalized pacing, and access to a wealth of resources that can complement and sometimes even enhance the learning experience. It's not about replacing traditional classrooms, but offering an alternative that suits different needs and lifestyles. Another common misconception is that technology in education is a distraction. Well, in reality, when used appropriately, technology is a powerful tool for enhancing learning, providing interactive and engaging ways to understand complex concepts. It's about integrating technology in a balanced and constructive manner. A widespread myth is education hasn't really changed over the years. Well, this couldn't be further from the truth. Education has undergone significant transformations, from the content taught to the methods of delivery. Today's education places greater emphasis on critical thinking, creativity, and adaptability, preparing students for a dynamic world. Many believe inclusive education lowers academic standards. Well, in fact, inclusive education enriches the learning environment by bringing diverse perspectives and fostering a culture of understanding and respect. It encourages all students to reach their full potential, not just academically, but as empathetic individuals. And there's a misconception that teachers are becoming obsolete in the digital era. Well, let me tell you, teachers are more important than ever. They guide, mentor, and provide the human interaction and support that technology alone cannot offer. Their role is evolving, but their importance remains paramount. Some think only young students benefit from modern education methods. Well, lifelong learning is for everyone. Adults can also benefit from modern educational resources and methods, whether for professional development or personal growth. education is a continuous journey, not confined to a specific age group. A common myth is globalization makes education systems homogeneous. While globalization has led to some standardization, it also encourages the sharing of diverse educational practices and perspectives. This results in a rich tapestry of educational approaches, not a one-size-fits-all model. And there's also a belief that special education is entirely separate from regular education. Well, today, the focus is on integrating special education into the mainstream wherever possible, promoting inclusivity and equal opportunities for all learners. Another myth is that environmental education is a minor part of the curriculum. Well, given the current global challenges, environmental education is becoming increasingly important, teaching students about sustainability, conservation, and responsible stewardship of our planet. Trust me, we can never have enough of this topic. As far as I'm concerned, we should talk more and more about this topic as much as we can. And lastly, a misconception is educational reforms are always top-down. Well, let me tell you, grassroots movements, teacher initiatives, and student voices play a significant role in shaping educational reforms. Education is a collaborative effort involving various stakeholders, not just a mandate from the top. Well, by debunking these myths, we gain a clearer, more accurate understanding of the evolving landscape of education systems. Next up is our segment In Real Life, where we'll look at some real-life examples that illustrate how these education concepts and reforms are being applied in various settings. Stay tuned to see how theory translates into practice in the world of education. Welcome to the In Real Life segment of English Plus Podcast, where we connect the dots between our discussion on the evolution of global education systems and real-life examples. I'm Danny, and today we'll explore how these educational concepts manifest in the lives of people and communities around the world. Let's start with e-learning. Imagine Maria, a working mother in Buenos Aires, Argentina. With a busy schedule, attending regular classes is challenging for her. However, through online courses, Maria is pursuing her dream of studying graphic design. Every evening, after her children are asleep, she logs onto a digital platform where she can learn at her own pace, interact with peers from around the world, and receive feedback from instructors. This flexibility and accessibility of e-learning have made it possible for Maria to balance her education with her personal and professional responsibilities. Now consider the concept of inclusive education. In a small village in India, there's a school that has embraced this principle. They've welcomed children with various learning abilities and backgrounds, creating a diverse and vibrant classroom environment. Special education teachers work alongside regular teachers to ensure that all children, including those with disabilities, receive the support they need. This inclusive approach has fostered a sense of community and understanding among students, preparing them to be compassionate and inclusive citizens. In Toronto, Canada, a high school history teacher, Mr. Thompson, is demonstrating the evolving role of teachers in the digital era. He uses a blend of traditional teaching methods and modern technology to engage his students. His classroom is a dynamic space where students use tablets to access interactive historical maps and participate in virtual reality simulations of historical events. Mr. Thompson facilitates discussions, encourages critical thinking, and helps students navigate these digital tools, showing that teachers remain vital in guiding and inspiring students. And consider holistic development in the context of a community center in Nairobi, Kenya. Here, young people not only receive tutoring for their academic subjects, but also engage in arts, sports, and community service projects. This approach nurtures their intellectual, physical, and social skills, providing a well-rounded educational experience that prepares them for various life challenges. In rural areas of countries like Vietnam, traditional education methods are still very much alive and valued. In a small village school, lessons are primarily delivered through face-to-face teaching with a focus on rote learning and memorization. However, the school is gradually introducing more interactive and participatory teaching methods, blending the old with the new to enhance students' learning experiences. And finally, let's look at lifelong learning through the lens of Jack, a retired engineer in Sydney, Australia. Jack has always been passionate about history and archaeology. Now he has more time. He attends local university lectures, participates in online forums, and even volunteers at archaeological digs. His story illustrates that education doesn't end with formal schooling. It's a continuous journey that enriches our lives at every stage. These examples from around the world show how the concepts we've discussed are not just theoretical, but are being implemented and experienced in real-life settings. Education is a dynamic and diverse field, constantly adapting to meet the needs of learners in different contexts. And that brings us to the close of another enlightening episode here at English Plus Podcast. I'm Danny, and it's been a privilege to journey with you through the dynamic landscape of global education systems. Today's exploration is more than just information. It's a call to action. Education is a living, breathing entity that evolves and grows, just like each one of us. I encourage you to embrace the spirit of lifelong learning we discussed today. Whether it's pursuing a new skill, engaging in community education, or simply exploring new ideas, every step you take in learning is a step towards a richer, more informed life. Remember, the pursuit of knowledge knows no age or boundaries. It's a journey that enriches our lives and the lives of those around us. And as we wrap up, I want to extend a heartfelt thanks to all of you for tuning in. Your support is the heartbeat of English Plus Podcast. By following our podcast and sharing it with your family and friends, you're not just spreading knowledge. You're building a community of curious minds and passionate learners. And for those who wish to take their support to the next level, consider becoming a patron on Patreon. Your contributions on Patreon are what make this podcast possible. They help us keep the lights on and the information flowing. Your support, whether by listening, sharing, or contributing, is what fuels this journey of education and discovery. So thank you, each and every one of you, for being part of the English Plus Podcast family. Until next time, keep learning, keep exploring, and keep sharing the gift of knowledge. Remember, every word learned, every concept understood is a step towards a more enlightened and connected world. Goodbye for now, and remember, the world of learning is just a podcast away.